tell us the name of the book and what led to you deciding like I gotta tell it's time to tell my story.
Well, the name of the book is Euphoric Recall. And I mean, I kind of there were times where I thought about I love to write, and I've written all through the years for one reason or another, writing record label content and bios for bands, and I did record reviews and some features I wrote for Crawdaddy magazine, and it's after in the early 2000s, I don't know if you know, Paul Williams, the original founder, took it back to being a stapled together fanzine, and did, I don't know, a couple years worth of issues there. And I wrote for him. I became friends with him, and he had been a great hero of mine back in the day, from not only Crawdaddy magazine, but especially he wrote these liner notes for the second Procol Harum album, which as a 14-year-old, it was the hippest thing I'd ever read. I memorized them, and so that was a big deal to get to know him. So anyway, I've always liked to write, and then I've just done a lot of different things in music, and so there's over the years I've always had people saying, "Oh man, you got to write a book someday," and I thought, yeah, you and 10 other people would be interested, and I kind of brushed it off. And then at a certain point, I started thinking, I got a kid now. He's 21 now, but at the time when I first started thinking about it, I thought I'm going to try to put some of this stuff down, even if it becomes nothing more than a glorified journal for my boy. And then I've been working with a record label out here in LA for 17 years, called New West Records, and I left there in 2016. And 2 years later, I was doing freelance, and I was loving it. I love the freedom and the elbow room. New West had been a great place to work, but it was relentless. I mean, it was like we were putting out a lot of records, maybe more than we really had the capacity to do a good job with. And I say that with all due respect to the label. I mean, they were great people. They are great people. But 2 years after I left, I got an offer from a publisher who said, "Are you interested in writing a memoir? We'd really like to talk to you about it if you are." And I was just like, wow. I mean, when somebody really makes an actual a formal offer, it just scared the daylights out of me. And I spent several months lurching from yes, I can do this, to who am I kidding? I can't write a book. So, and I also had a lot of projects on my desk at the time, so I didn't want to start writing a book when I couldn't focus entirely on it. I wanted the book to be my job, and I wanted to sit down at 9 in the morning and write for 8 hours, and I didn't want to have a bunch of other stuff distracting me. So it took me a little bit to clear my desk, and once I did, I dove in head first and just wrote my brains out. And then I was foolish enough, being a first-time long-form writer, to not pay attention to the word count that I had contracted for. And when I turned in the book a year ago, right about now, the publisher kind of just laughed and said, "I'm glad you have so much to say, but you've written more than twice as much as the contract was for, and you're going to have to knock it in half." And it was like, oh my God. So I'd written 163,000 words, and they wanted 75,000 words. I knocked it down to about 100,000, and then between me and the editor, we got it down to around 87,000. That's about what the book is, I think, in its final form.
Okay, so when the box set comes out, in a couple years, after this is a huge success, the 10th anniversary, we'll have like the expanded version
the
of
director's cut.
Yes,
Right.
the Snyder
Yeah,
cut. The Snyder cut.
But I enjoyed the process, and so I may do something else after this. I don't know. It's hard to say. See if anybody cares about this one. Generally, I mean, of course, when you finish something like this, you can only see the flaws and things you wish you'd done better. But I think that I'm pretty pleased with how it came out, and I do genuinely feel it's too short, though. I think that the editor went too far in trimming it down. But as he said, it was really a very practical. People don't want long books, the general public, and then of course you have to take into account that a bigger book costs more to manufacture, and so there were practical reasons to try to keep it at a certain word count. And
sure. You want the 3-minute pop song, right?
Well, right. That's what I grew up on. 2 minutes and 30 seconds, maybe.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Have you thought about who's going to play you in the movie?
Nope. There was a little period where they were talking about a replacements movie, and they were actually casting, and that was a pretty strange situation. I'll tell you. They sent me pictures of people who they were talking to, and it was just like it really was incomprehensible to me. But luckily it didn't get too far. I don't know how many rock movies of that kind are really turn out good, you know.